Yes, people, what's going on? And welcome back to Man Knows Football. And welcome to Man Knows Football if you are new to the platform. Yeah, if you are new, smash that subscribe button. We are trying to get to the 20k mark. And my new thing is, yeah, people, as backwards as this may sound, I've decided I am not going to ask you lot to smash the like button anymore. It's up to you. If you guys like the content, hit the like button. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. You get me? Honest feedback only. Guni's taking a risk, but I will take that risk for very good reason. But Younes, how are you doing, my bro? You all good?
I'll only say I'm doing good if everyone smashes the like button. There we are. How's that?
Younes,
Does that work?
Younes has just gone completely against the policy, and he's just like, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you lot just got to hit the like button. So look, what it is to Younes, you're more than welcome to smash that like button. Obviously, it is very much appreciated if you do so. But you get me? Like, we are here to talk football. We are here to talk Chelsea because the mighty Chelsea are back this weekend. We've obviously got Aston Villa. We're not going to go too much into the match preview. We haven't heard Graham Potter speak, and it's still very early in the week. There might be one or two niggles in terms of injury, so we're not going to get into too much right now. However, what we can discuss, Younes, is a certain pivot because there is a return of the prodigal Chelsea son, N'golo Kante. Yeah, the man that never stops running, the homing missile. Yeah, that key to our midfield in that Champions League winning run. He is back in the squad. Apparently, he has had a procedure that is supposed to fix his hamstring long term. Hopefully, that's the case. Are you excited to see the return of this man into the squad, potentially? I say potentially
100%.
because we don't know if he's going to be picked.
Yeah, this is the thing. Well, he played that friendly against Charlton behind closed doors, if anyone even knows that friendly happened. But we won 3-0. And Kante played and didn't get injured, which was good. So, yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm looking forward to this. And it's going to be interesting to see how it works because what Kante left isn't what he's coming back to. You know, he left. Enzo wasn't at Chelsea. All these guys that we have weren't here. And he's not even played for Graham Potter, has he? It's not happened yet, if I'm not mistaken.
Tottenham was against. We still had Thomas Tuchel when we played Tottenham early in the season. Yeah, he hasn't.
Yeah,
He hasn't.
he
Has
hasn't.
he?
He hasn't. So it's been that long, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to work and how he functions. I guess in a Potter system. And if he's going to be playing alongside Enzo, or are we going to switch up the formation in order to get him in? Or I have no idea how we're going to approach this. But it'd be good to see him back on the pitch and see him hopefully at his best. And I pray that nothing happens to him, man. Because if something happens to him after all of this, because we had this thing, remember, where Kante got injured, and then we'd give him a good break, and then he'd come back, get injured, and then we'd give him a good break, and then he'd come back and get injured again. And we're like, this needs to end.
Yep.
He's had a procedure. If he gets injured again, like that's it. It's done. So I'm really, really hoping that he's cool. He's recovered. He's 100%. He's ready to go, and his hamstring's now made of steel.
I mean, I asked this respectfully, Younes. Obviously, Kante is
Yeah.
one of my favourite Chelsea players of all time, bruv. Not just within the past 10 years, of all time. I absolutely love this guy.
Yeah.
But the question has to be asked. If the injuries persist after this quote-unquote, long-term fix, is it the end of the road for you in terms of N'Golo Kante? Do we cash in on the player or do we continue to keep our faith in him?
Well, we already know he's signing a new contract. That's happening, and that's a done deal. That's going to happen imminently, right? So, knowing that, and knowing that there's no rush, I would say if he does get injured again really soon, and it's clear that it's the same place and it's just bothering him and it's not going away, then yeah, we need to do the right thing and see, not force a move, but if someone comes in, entertain it. Absolutely entertain it.
100%.
Yeah.
And do you know me, Younes, with my brain kind of does 1,000 things at one time.
It does.
Yeah,
2,000.
so yeah, it does so many things at one time. I've actually had an idea. This actually might go different to what I was expecting. All right, first of all, I've got the title wrong. I didn't even change the thing. Sorry, people. My OBS thing, it had the wrong title on the screen, but now we've changed it to what it's supposed to be. But with N'golo Kante, I'm going to start with this before I move on to the rest of the midfield, because I've got an interesting, you'll see where I'm going with this. But Ivan Stankov says Kante might take some time to get back to full speed. We can't expect wonders from a player that hasn't played in ages, which is very true. That is very true. Yeah. And another comment that I did see, that I feel can be tied into that, was from DRB10, where he says, no rush, don't start Kante, start him against Madrid. Now, I'm going to go back to the first one. We're going to have to be patient with N'golo Kante, 100%.
Yeah.
But this also means to those people who are saying don't rush Kante, like DRB10, I completely understand why you're worried about N'golo, same way as we all are. But ideally, you want N'golo to have minutes under his belt instead of just throwing him straight into Real Madrid. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. No, I understand in terms of, like, don't expect too much. But that doesn't mean don't play him. You know what I mean? Like, you're recovered. I have this thing, and I understand there's science right now. It's gone so far and it's developed to a point like never before, right? But it's at a point now. If the player's fit, right? If the player's available and he's selected, mate, you can play. Simple. And you should be able to play a good amount of minutes, albeit you might find it hard, right? He might find it difficult in order to get to 90 minutes. He might even feel it. He might struggle, but he absolutely needs the minutes. And the one thing that we have to do is not expect 10 out of 10 performances. You know, he might be a little bit rusty. He might be a little bit sloppy. He might give the ball away a little carelessly from time to time. That's going to be expected, not from anyone else, but from him. Yeah, it's expected. And to be honest, I don't think he even will that much because he's N'Golo Kante. But how many games have we got till we play Real Madrid? Do you know?
Let me check. First of all, I'm seeing people in the comments that are saying that my audio is a little bit low. Is this a little bit better, people? I've turned it up on the software. I'm also going to turn it up on my sound card, so I think I should be all right. Yeah, no, I should be all right now. Give me a thumbs up if my audio is a lot better. Yep.
I'm listening as well, and you sound good. And I sound good,
yep. I'm getting comments. They're saying way better. Okay, yep. That's good. Thank you for the heads up, people. But yeah, definitely a bit of patience needs to be exercised with N'Golo Kante, 100%. And to get him ready for that Madrid game, 100%.
We've got 3 games.
We got 3 games, and it's Aston. So we've got Aston Villa's obviously next.
Aston Villa next, and then Liverpool on the Tuesday, and then Wolves on the Saturday, and then Real Madrid on that midweek after.
April. This April, there's going to be a lot of football being played, man, and that's another thing.
He needs to play those 3 games, I reckon. Has to.
It's just keeping him fit. It's keeping him fit, and it's also keeping a certain right back fit as well. It's keeping him in the squad as well. But since N'Golo Kante is going to be signing a new contract with Chelsea Football Club, it now beggars the question: Kovacic, is it looking likely that this man is going to leave the club? Now, this brings the N'Golo Kante thing into more perspective, and it makes a lot more sense for me in terms of seniority. Because we can't sell too many seniors. Remember, Jorginho's already gone. We can't, Kovacic might be leaving. So one of them had to stay. And I'm happy that it's N'Golo Kante, which ties me into this. Have you been seeing the transfer news that's been going on in terms of a certain German player? Yeah, Manu Kone. Could he be a direct replacement for Kovacic?
Could be, because I heard, again, more Kone stuff yesterday, right? Like I'm sure you did. Mm-hmm. And today we're hearing Kovacic stuff. So when you put 2 and 2 together, it directly would be a replacement if it were to happen. But, at the same time, we have to be careful, I'd say, in terms of the options that we have, in depending what system we play or what we're trying to move ahead with. Because if we're looking to play in a double pivot like right now as we are, then it's a bit difficult. You can't let, Kovacic will probably end up going at the end of the season, obviously, if he does leave. So we need to get someone in that would be able to accommodate that. Kone, you'd think, will. If we move to a system where we end up getting a defensive midfielder, then after that we're well covered, 100%. If we were to get a DM,
do you think it's one or the other, or do you think it's both?
I think it could be both.
Because look, if Kovacic goes out, Kone comes in.
Yeah.
If Loftus-Cheek goes out, Lavia comes in.
Well,
If Gallagher goes, one of them comes in. So there are several players on the books that could be moving out. Because look, Kovacic, like I said, Gallagher possibly could be moving. If we can get a decent fee for him, I can see Chelsea selling him. Remember the situation with Mason Mount as well. We don't know what's going on there. That's already 3 midfielders. Although what I'll say is this though, Younes, is if Mason Mount goes, I don't see them selling more than 2 English players in one window. I don't see it happening. Because of obviously the English quota that we've got to meet in the Prem. So, which means I don't know if we're going to see like a Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher and Mason Mount leave the club in one window.
I reckon if there's a chance, maybe Loftus-Cheek sticks around. Maybe. Because I think maybe Loftus-Cheek has even come to terms with the fact that a lot of people look at him like he's still 22, by the way. Like, he's not.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're just so used to him being a Cobham boy, innit?
Well, this is the thing, and because he was out for so long and he didn't actually get that much after the Sarri injury and whatnot, I think people still have it in their heads like he's still that same player, when in reality, that was years ago, and he's 27 or 28 now. Like, he's meant to be in his prime. So I think even for him, he's probably come to terms with that, and he deep down maybe knows that, is he going to get a better club, like a better club than Chelsea right now in his state of a career? I don't think so. Right, he'd probably have to downgrade to get regular football. So he'd probably be happy to just play for the squad. Whereas Gallagher, I feel like young, wants to try and get into the team, will end up getting a little bit maybe agitated. As I've said, I've already told you this, I believe Mount's gone. I just don't see how something happens there. So if Mount leaves and we got to fill in the English quota, then yeah, maybe Gallagher's the more likely to go along with him. Depends who we bring in. If we end up bringing in another English lad, then we can compensate and Loftus-Cheek can go. So it depends. It depends. We'll see what happens in terms of who we bring in.
Very, very good point here from Tiny. He says, I think we will sell the English players and promote some from the academy, like Hall and the
All that.
Yeah, there's also...
Colwell.
Levi back. Colwell to still come back into So actually, good reminder. Actually, this is why we have these conversations, because these reminders sometimes happen. Do you know what I mean? So
Another point we've got to remember is, because we are trying to make sure we catch up on our losses as a football club. Mm-hmm. It only helps when you sell players that came from the academy, because you didn't pay for them. So you're making direct profit, which means that you're elevating, you're leveraging basically. So Chelsea need to do that now, because we're desperate. In terms of actually balancing the books, we're a bit desperate now. So
I reckon, if we do sell Mace, we're not going to get his maximum value, obviously, but I still think with the English premium on top of that, we could still get like a 50 mil tops for him, 40, 50 mil. So, it still hurts to say it, but it's what it's going to be. With
I reckon more.
With a year left on his contract.
Well, of a year. Because I look at it in the aspect of, look, Everton came in and asked for 40 for Gallagher. That's Gallagher, man. But yeah, Mason Mount's in his last year. He should be able. We should try. We should try to leverage as much as we can. And look, I'd say if we were able to get 60, I'd be very happy.
60's pushing it, and the club interested is Liverpool as well. Do you reckon they'll spend 60 M's? I don't know. Well, it remains to be seen. Let's see how much they really want the player. If they really want him, then they're gonna meet that 60 million valuation. But but you know what? I love talking about recruitment, because it's just exciting times. Because I can see I can see a vision with Chelsea in terms of long term, but it's just, I don't necessarily always understand the order of which they do things. it really baffles me. I like the players linked, but it's like, for example, look, honest conversations need to be had. How are we going to fit João Felix, Nkunku, Kai Havertz? Apparently, we want Osimhen as well. We've got Broja coming back from injury, Lukaku. How?
Oh, no, I mean, for me, I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't think Lukaku comes back and stays.
Who's going to buy him?
We'll find a solution.
Bro,
we'll flog him to Dulwich Hamlets or something, bruv. We'll find a solution. Yeah.
Do you know how
He'll end up playing non-league.
Do you know how much money he's on, even with the pay cut that he's asking for? Like, a lot of teams, bro, it's a lot of bread. I don't know. We might have to deal with Lukaku in the summer. I hate to be that guy, people. Yeah, I don't want this to happen. I don't wish for this to happen, nor am I advocating for it to happen. I'm just bringing up the realistic possibility that this man could be at the club.
No, but you know what? We could, if we really wanted to, right? We could. If we couldn't find anywhere to sell him to, yeah, it could be a case of, look, we'll keep you under contract, but we want you to stay home. Don't come into work. You don't have to. Stay at home. Yeah? Try and work from home. We are, as your employer, allowing you to work from home. There we are. You can work from home. And then just keep him until the end of his contract. Because the guy, we have to bite the bullet somewhere, bro. Even if it means we're going to have to pay his wages for him to sit at home and do nothing. If that's the last resort, that's the last resort.
Okay, so now, my next thing is this. We've got Lukaku out of the way. What are we going to do about the situation with Nkunku, Felix and Kai Havertz? Because apparently Bayern ain't trying to sign Kai Havertz now. Obviously, I haven't spoken to Darko about this. I ain't spoken to him. That's something we should probably talk about all together on camera at some stage. He is getting over his flu, by the way. He'll be back soon. And once he's back, he will be talking more. But we need to find out a little bit more about that. But in terms of all three of those players, Nkunku's the one to me that looks the most versatile. In terms of, if we decided to play him off the left, I think he would still do a good job because pace-wise, he's electric. Technically, he's brilliant, and he's also got an eye in front of goals. So that can be a good thing. But then, João Felix, where does he go? Where does Kai Havertz go? If he's going to be part of this team, I personally want him sold. But if he's going to be part of the team, how do you fit him? Can't have 72 million on the bench every week.
We tend to get used to that now. We tend to have big players sitting on the bench.
True.
No, you know what? I genuinely think, look, it's Nkunku's coming in 100%, so we can't change that. It's going to be Felix or Havertz. Pick one. You know, we trigger a permanent for Felix. Havertz is out the door. We make money and we equal ourselves there. Or Felix goes back, we terminate the loan, Havertz stays, we keep going. That's how I see it happen. It's going to be one or the other. If all three were to be there, I don't see how it works. And personally, I genuinely think Felix will stay. I think we'll trigger a permanent, and I think there was already whispers coming out this week and even yesterday mainly where Havertz apparently wants to go, but he's happy to see out the rest of the season professionally, and he does well. Bayern Munich are not coming in for him, but it's going to have to see what other club comes in for him. So
Havertz wanted to go last summer.
Well, yeah.
He wanted to go last summer. I know he didn't want to be at this club, and I said this last summer, and I was called an agenda merchant.
Huh? So, I agree. I think, look, Havertz, as mad as it is, and the fact that he did score that Champions League winning goal, and I think that's what he's been riding on for all this time, up until this purple patch where he's managed to hit some form. But it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Simple as that. It needs to be much better. And I genuinely think if we do make a permanent for Felix, we get Osimhen in because we need a striker. You know, the other guys we're talking about are not strikers. Even Kai Havertz, he's not a striker. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A striker like Osimhen or whoever's to come in, and then you have Felix and Nkunku in behind to choose from, or one of them plays on the flank like Felix can. I think we'll be cooking. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, potentially, I think so too. It's also just keeping that balance of the squad and the players happy and stuff. But Giddy has actually said something about Osimhen as well. He said he thinks we shouldn't buy Osimhen. He says we shouldn't buy Osimhen, in my opinion. Let's finally build a fluid attack instead of shoehorning a number 9 every time and watching it fail. Giddy, the front three as an isolated incident only tells a percentage of the story. It's also what's behind them that counts. We've not recruited properly in terms of midfield, and nor did we really add reinforcements in the wide areas where we create our opportunities in terms of our wing backs. Do you know what I mean? So there's other reasons as to why the attackers are suffering, but that's not to say that what we've got currently hasn't been poor. 100%. There definitely needs to be improvement in there. But in terms of Osimhen, in terms of would I take this man at the club? 100%, 8 days a week. Would it be financially responsible to do so, and would it be an absolute priority considering what we've already got at the team and who's coming into the squad? I partially think it would be a little irresponsible, and I don't know, you might disagree with me, Younes. You're fine if you do. I just think that we need to address that conundrum of having so many attackers first before we're going to commit to 100 million euros on this guy. His talent isn't up for question. It's just everything around it, yeah.
When you consider the rest, right? Imagine if we got Osimhen, let's say, how much would Kone be?
Kone would be around, I'd say with add-ons, worst case scenario, about 45 mil. Worst case scenario.
Can you imagine letting go? Can you imagine getting Osimhen, Kone, having to let go of Mason Mount, one of Gallagher or Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi on top of that, recuperate 100 million and have to spend maybe 40 net?
You make a good point.
I think that would be great business.
I
think that would be phenomenal.
I think it would as well.
And then sell Kai Havertz, trigger João Felix, and Kunku's already coming in. Boom.
That's my concern, is are we going to be able to execute that? Are we going to be able to get these outgoings quick enough for us to act? Because remember, it might be a thing where, because there's other teams interested in these players. Manchester United are very interested in Osimhen. They're also interested in Kone.
They also want Harry Kane.
Yeah, Liverpool interested in Kone. My concern is not the fact we're interested or we want these players. I just don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we've got to wait for the portion of the summer to sell a certain player and then risk going in for that player, hoping that he's not been picked by somebody else. That's my concern. And I haven't, outside of, Mason Mount, I haven't really seen too many links with your Conor Gallagher's just as of yet. Even Loftus-Cheek, I haven't really seen clubs showing much interest in these guys, and that's really what I'm worried about.
No, I mean, for me, I reckon it's still early. I think links can pop up very quickly and deals can get done very quickly. For players of that magnitude, right, which is not... You're not talking about, the biggest names in the team or the club, right? If you are, then obviously links can start very early because the big names attract attention and that attention sells, and that's what the news is going to be about. But play like a Gallagher, for example, I feel like you'll end up hearing when the window starts. Do you know what I mean? Or things will pop up later. Considering that it's the end of March, we've still got a few months. I reckon eventually we'll come to it. We'll get business done.
Tiang Yang, thank you for the super chat. Most are eager for Modric to be a flop. Although he is not helping out with his performances when given the chance, he is still raw and needs some time. What's your thoughts on Modric, Younes, and this whole situation with him?
Well, I have to say, at first, I was looking at Modric and thinking, no, you know what? Give him a bit of time. Right. Even if we play him, he'll get into the rhythm, and then he got that assist, right? And we're thinking, okay, all right, we're starting to see things, cool. And then I have to say that England performance cemented why Potter's not really picking him, and I completely understand why he's not playing, man. Because, I don't know. I don't know if it's a case of maybe just he needs to adapt to English football as a whole, but damn, he needs to adapt fast because, I feel like he's waiting for things to come to him. I feel like he's waiting for opportunities to rock up on his plate rather than him having to actually go and chase them.
Yeah.
Maybe in Ukraine, maybe elsewhere that works. In England, I'm sorry, that don't work. So he's got to push himself, not just even offensively and moving into places and spaces that he wouldn't normally move into, but defensively, he's got to get himself stuck in much more. I don't know whether physically he's struggling or whether mentally he finds the game too fast, or I don't know. But yeah, he's not ready as it seems, and it's crazy to say that on a player that we spent 100 million on. You know what I mean? If it were a cheap fee, I think everyone would be patient. But the fact it's that much money, and that's not his fault, but the fact it's that much money, you'd expect someone to kick up and running straight away, which he's not. So yeah, I think he'll be good eventually, but how long would it take? That's my concern.
I think a lot of things. I think a lot of things have gone against him in this transfer as well. I mean, the obvious thing you mentioned was definitely the price tag, almost 100 million. For a player who's, respectfully only played in the Ukrainian league with Shakhtar Donetsk and the Ukrainian national team. Not the highest echelons of football, so very risky on that price tag. And obviously that price tag is added pressure. But another thing that we don't consider is that this man has come from a country that is being blown to bits and smithereens. And remember, he's still got family that have to live there and relations. And these are things that we're not going to understand coming from a situation like that. We don't know how that's playing on his mental well-being. And with something like that, as much as you might try and put that away from the forefront of your mind while you're playing football or while you're training or while you're in the luxury of Stamford Bridge and you've made it at Chelsea, this is something that is so direct to you. Like your grandpa could be out there, your auntie could be out there, you never know. So these are things that I try to take into consideration because we have to consider the human aspect of the person first before the player. So we don't know how that's going to affect them mentally. And even if you look at the stuff that he's been posting on his socials as well, some of it has been quite like, yo, is this guy all right? Is he coping? I ask myself that question sometimes.
What's he been posting? Like,
just stuff about,
I've not seen the last few days either.
I'm not talking just the last few days, but I've just seen gathered a few things since he's made his transfer. I mean, things obviously to do with his home country, that's obviously sad. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
we don't know how he's mentally coping, which brings us now to the thing of a lot of people saying Graham Potter isn't using him. He isn't using him. You never know. Maybe that could be a reason. And also as well, when you look at Potter historically, he traditionally doesn't bring in players in straight away. Moises Caicedo never walked into Brighton immediately. He had to earn his bones. Mitoma didn't walk straight into Brighton. He had to earn his time to come into that team. Even now, fast forward, now that Potter's gone, like you're seeing it even with De Zerbi now. Colwill, we know, is an elite potential talent. He's not been walking into that team consistently. Alexis McAllister only really made his breakthrough season in Brighton recently. He's been there for a minute. So these are the things that we've also got to consider with a player like Mudryk. Do you know what I mean? We've got to take these things into account. Him being so young, him coming from another country with all the political affairs that's going on with that too, into the most difficult league in the world, in a club with the highest expectations. It's a lot. Maybe pre-season might help him. Maybe you never know. Yeah, you never know. So I try and look at it from that perspective. But at the same time, people, as much as we can all sympathise with that, we're gonna want to see a point of, you're a professional football player. You got to start doing your job. At some point, the professionalism and getting your job done has to kick in. So that, for me, is not going to fly for his entire career at Chelsea Football Club. Just so I'm letting people know. Do you know what I mean?
There's one example that you can compare him with to an extent where I look at Zinchenko, right? But the one thing that Zinchenko's had is that he's been based here for quite a few years now. So he's not come from there. Albeit it's still his home country and what is going on, I'm sure he's still affected. But he's been playing some of his most amazing football that we've seen. However, with Mudryk directly coming from there, maybe it is a case as why that's affected him, if that has affected him. So, yeah, it's something to consider, definitely.
No, 100%. So let's give Mudryk some time. Younes, how much time have you got? I'm not trying to run you over time too
No, it's
much.
fine. Another 10 or so will be fine.
Another 10 minutes. Okay, but obviously we've seen some performances over in the international in the international break so far. Whose performances have stood out for you so far for their countries? Doesn't even have to just be a Chelsea player, any player of your choice.
Oh, anyone? Have I watched much international football? Actually, no. You know, France were quite dominant. Holland looked like crap. Um, Morocco doing what they did against Brazil. I watched that game. I watched all of it. That was amazing. That was quality. Albeit Brazil weren't 100%. There was no Neymar. There was no. You could say no Jesus. There was no Martinelli. There was no. Vinicius played. Vinicius got dominated. I have to be honest. Vinicius Hakimi battle on that right hand side was quality. So yeah, what Morocco done was quality. England, I didn't expect in the Italy game. I didn't expect England to go up so early as they did because we started the first 5-10 minutes looked like crap, and then we scored, and I'm like, all right, cool, nice. So apart from that, I haven't watched much international football. So those are the only games I've watched. Algeria silently, but we played against Niger, so there's nothing.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Nigeria lost. What on earth happened there?
But they've been looking a bit shaky for a while now, bruv. I don't know what's going on with them.
They lost to Guinea-Bissau?
Guinea-Bissau, yeah. Didn't Kazakhstan pack up Norway or something as well?
Yeah, the 3-2. I saw, the last 10 minutes they scored 3. That was quality. Yeah, and a random score. I think I saw Georgia beat Liechtenstein 7-0.
Yeah, well,
that big scoreline.
I bet Kvara scored all 7 goals as well for Georgia. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, Reece James is getting annoying. All right, for the last 5 minutes or so, we'll talk about Reece James. That's a good point. I've been meaning to want to speak about him. But Younes, here we are again revisiting this conversation for, I don't know.
Coming back to the hamstring talk.
The
hamstring
time with Reece James. Bro, I am now starting to get concerned about this guy's long-term future at this club, because if we can't get this guy to play 25 games in the season, and he's 23 years old, 24 years old, that's a problem, bro. This is becoming a problem that's becoming more and more worrying. But now has there been any kind of treatment for Reece James in terms of a long-term fix? We haven't heard that yet, but I would like to think pre-season might be that time where they think about doing that for Reece.
Yeah, it's got to be a quick decision. I think what we need to do is look at Reece up until the Real Madrid games, see what we can do there. If he's fit to play those, or if he's fit to play before. To be honest, he might even be available for this weekend. You never know, because he withdrew from the England squad. So we'll see. But I'm expecting maybe by Liverpool, he should be up and running again. And then we just have to monitor him. If there's another chance of something happening, or if something does happen leading up to the Real Madrid games, at that point, if we can get him over the line just for the Real Madrid games and then see how we do, and then think of triggering the option is just to go and do surgery. Like Kante did, Reece James might have to. That way he's ready for next season.
They're calling him Reece Dembele in the comments, bruv.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
It's actually peak, fam. It's actually
sad
to see this.
And Gusto's got a hamstring at the moment as well.
Is he still out from that injury?
I think he is. So yeah, even if he was at Chelsea right now, probably same situation. Although his isn't as extreme as Reece, because Reece has had this reoccurring constantly. So with Gusto, it's probably just, first time, or if it is his first time, I'm not actually sure. But yeah, honestly, if it pops up one more time, he has to go and do surgery. Bro, he has to get rid of this problem once and for all.
And this is where it might get a little controversial with people in the chat. Brace yourselves. This is why I said in the summer, Thomas Tuchel let us down in transfers. He did. In terms of the targets,
We wanted Mane, apparently.
bro,
That would
what
be
did we say at the beginning of the summer? We need a number 6. We need that backup, right back, for Reece James that we all know is injury prone.
Well, I mean, there were a couple of links, if I'm not mistaken. If we remember, who signed for Marseille? Who's that right back that signed for Marseille?
When? Last
Apparently
summer?
a Chelsea fan. Yeah, someone just went.
Oh, the one, the French guy.
Yeah.
Jonathan something.
Yes, Jonathan Klaus.
Jonathan Klaus, yeah.
Yeah, there we are. That was meant to be the backup. And it never happened. Because his name was going all over the place to the point where he even spoke about Chelsea. If you remember, and he was talking really nicely about the club and how he was following Chelsea before and all of that. And nothing happened. That would have been a perfect sort of backup situation. He would have been happy to do that. I think it would have cost us 8 million or something. So, yeah, that never happened for whatever reason. But we were linked. There were, Walker Peters was another one. I remember talking about it for a few videos.
That would have made sense. 16 million they wanted for him, or 12 million they wanted for him.
We were linked. So how none of these happened, I don't know. But something leads me to think that relationship between Tuchel and Todd had already broken down at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was when the season started, if you remember, our first game at Stamford Bridge, you could see that there was no handshake between them. So things had already happened, even as we played our first game of the season at Stamford Bridge. Things were already ruptured between them. So from an owner's perspective, if he's at that point thinking, I'm going to go and get the player that Tuchel wants, but I kind of don't want him to be manager of the club, is a bit mad. So,
but you know what? When you look back on it, in terms of who we've got now, as that number 2 to Reece James, I definitely think we got the best option. So in hindsight, it's a bit of a bitch. But now when you look at it, it's like, we got Malo Gusto as a number 2, and believe me, Gusto is a player. He's proper. He's got a lot of potential, that kid, and I'm very excited to see what he's got. Hey, big up Millie in the building. Thank you very much. Showing some love in the building. Yeah. Kisses and all that. You get me? Frimpong is my dream right back. We're not going to need him now. Do you know what I mean? See, people are happy that we've got Malo Gusto. Yeah, Gusto's fine. He says 100%. He's just spending time in England. But, yeah.
Oh, I saw one comment in there that I have to mention. They're asking, how did Santos play against Morocco? I'll tell you, not that good, I'll be honest.
Not that good.
Not that good.
There's your answer, people.
And he got taken off. We'll give him time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Younes, what have you got coming up on your platform, my bro?
So definitely a video later to discuss all the latest news, transfer news. Might even mention alongside the Chelsea stuff what's been going on in terms of Poch. I think there's a Real Madrid link. So
what for Pochettino?
Yeah. So that's interesting.
We did get the news as well that Julian Nagelsmann isn't gonna make a decision immediately on his future. So the whole links with Tottenham were a bit premature.
Yeah. And it's obviously there. It's going to be on the table, especially if Poch goes to Real Madrid. But I think things happen at the end of the season, especially regarding Nagelsmann, probably at the end of the season, whichever club he ends up going to. So, we'll discuss all of that and if more comes in, then I'll give my thoughts. And as well as that, my second channel's launched and up and running now, where just a lot more other generic stuff outside of football. So, Younes talks football for all the football stuff, and Younes talks for the non-football stuff.
Definitely, man. So you lot already know where to find Younes, one of the goats in this thing. So make sure you go back and run up them views. And you already know I'm going to be waiting for the content to be coming out in this thing. But as for me over here on Man Knows Football, I know I haven't been posting on an everyday thing. I haven't been regular, but life gets in the way. Work gets in the way and things like that. But once again, I'm going to keep trying, people. I'm going to try. I love to do this thing. I don't like to be away off camera. But sometimes things outside the camera become more important. You get me? But big up to every single one of you lot that are in the chat. A massive, massive shout out to Joey. I haven't forgot about you, my brother. You already know this. We'll talk after the ting. Yeah. Big up Millie once again. Jamaican Emilio letting us know. Madueke top class performance against France under 21s as well. Yeah, we got to see several players in that.
It.
Yeah, we got to see several players in there, and they weren't playing against dickheads as well. And like Badia Shile in that squad, Manu Kone was playing in that game. France's under 21 team is disgusting. Absolutely.
Well, this is the point I was going to make. It is disgusting, but England battered them 4-0. Like, when you consider that, I never thought I'd see a scoreline like that. England might have a bright future. If these players are used right, they probably do have a bright future.
You know what's stopping that from happening? And on that
Southgate,
note, people,
you're the one.
Yep.
Yes. Go on, finish the rest.
People. Joey already knows what time it is, yeah? Gareth Southgate out. We're out. Yeah, subscribe if you are new. Like if you like. If you don't like, don't like. Yeah, it's a bit unorthodox, isn't it, today? Yeah, Gareth Southgate out, and I'm not stopping until he's gone. I want to see a World Cup in my lifetime. I want to see a Euros in my lifetime. And I don't want to see just one. Get here.